Perfect. So thanks for having me today. Yeah, my name is Thomas. I was born in Austria back in 1991. 1991 was not an average year, actually. 1991 was the year where the first website was published in the World Wide Web. And it was the second last year for Austria with an average air temperature. And back at that time, we do not have any scientific knowledge about biochar. 21 years later, actually, Javier, where you took my picture from, I watched a documentary about the so-called Terra Preta, and there was this researcher deep in the Amazonian rainforest searching for the reasons why some particular soils are just so nutrient rich and the plants are just flowering and growing bigger than the other plants next besides to them. At that point of time, when I was a young student, I already dreamed about how this knowledge can improve the agriculture, and but did not have any clue on the potential and the needs we will have a few years later. At that time, we already hit in Austria the average air temperature increase of 1.5 degrees, and we already had some knowledge of biochar, what we can see in the bottom of the slide. Yeah. Now, today, 2022, we have an immense increase of air temperature. Today, we see in Europe at least droughts and floods, crazy wildfires going on, and we see the impact. It's pretty clear. But also today, we have much more knowledge about solutions, and we have much more knowledge how to apply solutions. Today, we have more than 16,000 publications on the topic of biochar. And that means we got the knowledge. It's a more or less exponential growth of knowledge. And that means the knowledge we got from the last 5 years is more or less 80% of the knowledge we got from biochar. So there is a lot of transfer going on from science to the industry. Yeah, Marshall already told you it's really necessary to build huge scales of carbon dioxide removal. For sure, to prevent the climate crisis, we need to do the reduction, but still we know, at least since this year, for 100% sure, huge scale carbon dioxide removal is necessary to prevent the climate crisis. So what do we have for solutions? Because we really have to focus on solutions. It is right to see what's going on in the world. It's right to see the developments, but still we have to focus on the solutions and we have to implement the solutions. So we know more or less 6 technologies for negative emissions. 2 are nature-based. One is afforestation, reforestation. One is the buildup of soil organic matter. And they have to be implemented for sure, but they also have some risks. For example, if you just consider the wildfires going on, then it's possible that all the saved and stored carbon from the atmosphere will be released in a very short amount of time again. Also, if we build up soil organic matter and the style how farmland is farmed is bad, then this saved carbon can be released in a very short amount of time again. So we see that we have 4 technical carbon sinks, which are permanent one. The first one is enhanced weathering. We have bioenergy carbon capturing and storage, and direct air capture, direct carbon capturing and storage. And we have pyrogenic carbon capturing and storage. And why we should focus on that, and why we have to focus for at least the next at least the next decade, I will come up with in the next slides. So why is PYX unique? We have a variety of feedstock, we have different kind of major technologies, and we have a diversity of products. So when I talk about a diversity of feedstock, what can we use? We can use, we have to focus on residues for sure. There are residues from agriculture. If you take from forestry, if you take the branches, for example, then we have from agriculture, straw, for example. We also have leftovers from food processing or biomass processing. We have biomass from the sea. We can transform now sewage sludge. And we also have leftovers from the industry. And we should focus in the beginning really on the residues to transform that into a stable form of carbon. We have a broad range of technologies available at major level. That means there are already operation in commercial scale, and they are already in operating for several years. Just to name some manufacturers, there is Syncraft, who is producing electricity, power, and biochar, with Biochar, Pyrek, Carbon Schuster Technik, or ETA. And we have a broad range of services and products, and that's pretty unique to all the negative emission technologies or technical emission technology solutions. We are treating residues means that I can get an income or a revenue by treating residues. We provide renewable energy to heat households, to provide heat for the industry, or to provide to provide electricity. There is a tremendous amount of applications for biochar. Some are already very well implemented and very well known. Some are still under development, like the high-tech branch sector. And we have the climate initiative, climate service, where we already heard about it, that you can sell carbon removal credits on the voluntary market. So may I go back to the presentation once again, because sometimes it's very difficult explained how this biochar thing works. If we have a look at other technologies, pretty simple. For example, direct air capturing, you just have too much carbon dioxide in the air, you have a machine which sucks it up, and then you put it into the ground. So the story is very easily told. In our case, we have a biomass, which is our residues. We need some activation energy, and I would like to show you that with a matchstick, actually, because I think it's a very nice thing to show the people how it works. And you just put some activation energy, which was me actually right now. I gain now energy, and normally in the plants I showed you, this energy is used to heat the households or to produce electricity. If we control now the environment, how the conversation takes place, that means the time and the oxygen limitation, we can just stop burning or we can just stop the thermochemical conversation and gain the biochar at the end normally. So let's come to the potential as a negative emission technology, because we see that's a real main focus today on the European level. So until 2050, we will still have probably 15% of emissions left, and those emissions have to be compensated by carbon dioxide removal. What does that mean for Europe? That means in 2050, we have to remove yearly 850 million tons of CO2. And what do we expect, or what do we want to get? We want to at least take a third of those 850 million tons of CO2 with pyrogenic carbon capturing and storage. That means with 2050, at latest, we want to take 255 million tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere with pyrogenic carbon capturing and storage. But actually, that goal is not good enough, and we want to be much, much faster. And what is needed to get there? Because that's probably one of the most important questions. We hear a lot of good strategic things, but the question is how to get there. And we already heard a few things. One thing is, and there are we really far ahead from other technologies, we need a major technological readiness level. So we are talking about TRL 8+. So we already got that. We also make sure that the quality is right, because when we talk about biochar, not everything what is black is biochar. So we have really to make sure that biochar, which enters the market, for example, for animal feed, that the quality has to be proven, has to be right. Because when we do not ensure the quality is good, then we also take the risk that we can pollute some areas, and we really don't want to do that. It needs valuable products to build a profitable business case, for sure. And there still we are in a development mode for at least some sectors of the area, for example, for the industry. We need robust methodology for carbon credits, and that's also done. It was like the Wild West in the beginning, so everyone showed up with some methodologies and just threw some carbon credits on the market, and it happened that double counting, triple counting happened, and we really have to prevent that, because We are doing this to do something for climate protection and climate change adoption. So it does not make sense at all to do double counting. And so we have to do a robust methodology. And I think with Biochar, we have a real nice technology to do that. And also already implemented, for example, Carbon Future did that very well, how to do it in the right way. We further need the recognition of policy. That means, for example, the European Union is already working on a strategy for carbon capturing, utilization, and storage, but still biochar is underrepresented. And the only reason for that is that the other technologies are better funded to do political advocacy. And we do need more broad communication. We need to do more events like this. We need to do more events with people outside of our bubble, and we need to get their attention. And also we have to spread the word that it's not only about agriculture, it's also about much, much more. And we really have to make sure that the people see that the negative emissions are our only options if our efforts for emission reductions fail. So about the quality insurance in Europe, we have the European Biochar certificate, and there we have implemented several categories for different kind of biochar, because you not always need the highest quality of biochar. For example, if you use biochar in concrete, you don't need the quality as the same as if biochar would be used as animal feed. So that would be a real nice guideline if you are coming from other countries, to have a look at the European Biochar certificate guidelines to see what you can take, and also to implement really quality criteria. A robust methodology I come up with, Paul already told about another application. For me, it's very important just that the robust that there are not more credits on the market than there are real existent. So with the methodology of Carbon Future, they are tracking how biochar is produced with the European Biochar certificate. So it's sure that the feedstock is also sustainable. Then they track all the way to the sink creator. The sink creator means where the biochar was used and where you cannot remove the biochar again, or where the biochar cannot be transformed into CO2 again. And that's what you really have to make sure. It's not only the producer, it's also the one who is using the biochar. You need a third party who is the certifier in this system, and you need someone who is selling the credits on the market, and some companies who are willing to buy the compensation credits. And at this point of time, we are not lacking for balancers. That means the companies are usually very interested in this kind of carbon dioxide removal certificates, because it is very good to track, and you can see it and you have it in the hands. That's a very unique combination for carbon dioxide removal. What are the valuable products? For sure, there's the agricultural sector. It's still the main sector, but what we also see is in Europe that urban applications are emerging and developing very fast, because our air temperature increase, and also the humidity content or the water content in the air will increase with increasing air temperature, and that is leads to very hard rains and storm water. And by the usage of biochar in urban areas can also be one tool, and we always talk about one tool to do climate change adoption and to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Then we also see huge developments in the construction materials. Therefore, or in this case, probably the most attention is paid to concrete, because it already showed that using biochar within concrete reduce not only the carbon footprint of concrete, which is the source of huge amount of emissions, but it's also improving the concrete. And that's a focus where we should go to. We need to develop improved products, what we can do, for example, as said, with the concrete. But there are also other topics which are coming up, for example, using biochar as filler materials for thermoplasts. Yeah, where are we today? We did a market analysis of the European biochar industry, and we saw really great growth rates. So that means from 20 to 2022 to 2021, there was a rate of about 71%, and we see a growth rate from 2021 to 2022 of about 85%. But probably that's just the point of the commission and things, and some projects get delayed. So I'm not 100% sure how much we will get, but we are 100% convinced that at least we can produce 50,000 tons of biochar at the end of this year. So what do we do to scale the industry much further? Because 100,000 tons of biochar is about equivalent of 100,000 tons of CO2 removed from the atmosphere, but we need to go much further. So we need to do policy work. We need to tackle all the upcoming frameworks. We need to do much more communications to the decision makers. We need to do market intelligence to see where are important and valuable markets for creating business cases. We have to focus on communication, because there we really have to speak with one language. If someone is talking about carbon dioxide removals with pigs, the other ones are talking about corks. The newest thing I heard was Bergs, and it's just confusing. And so we really have to get together and speak with one language. And we have to make sure that all the biochar enters the market is really a product of quality. There we don't have many chances to have a real climate impact, and we should not lose our forces if we just have bad quality. Yeah, we are tackling those issues together with our team. We have 4 board members of the European Biochar Industry Consortium, and also right now with the beginning of tomorrow, we are 4 members with Hammerle as the head of the office. My focus is on the European policy work. Then we have a person right now for communication in the beginning of September. And also right now we have an internal who is also supporting us on the political stage, because there's just so much things developing and we have to be very fast. We have more than 65 members today. We are still increasing, and we also encourage, as Marshall said, all of you to join either national association, to join international association, because the big obstacle is we just can pave it together. That's also what we see on the European Union level, that the more we are, the more time we get, the more priority we will get, and we just can do that together. But where are we aiming for? Where we really want to go? We want to go to sequester 100 megatons by 2043. Is it possible? Yes. Is it a challenge? Yes, it's also a challenge. It's a challenge to keep that high growth rate alive, but it's not that it's not possible. We saw that already in the solar industries. There was huge growth rates until the political decision makers decided to not support it anymore. Then it was a bit down and decreased again. But as we see right now, we have such a high growth rate. We have to keep it, and we have to keep it with our decision makers. So if we take the growth rate until several years, we would be at our target at 2036. That means we are very fast to have a real climate impact. And after we will sequester 255 megatons per year, we have to focus on where are the right paths to use our biomass or to use the carbon stored in the biomass. But until then, we still have enough residues from forestry, from agricultural sector, from urban areas to produce high quality biochars. So just to sum up pretty quick, The technology is major. We have a TRL of 8+. We have quality standards. We also have established CO2 accounting and certification, also with EBC Sync, to get some high quality carbon dioxide removals on the market. And we are growing very, very fast. And this year, we will sequester at least 100,000 tons of CO2 for this year. And therefore, with this unique characteristics of biochar and PUCs, we do think that biochar PUCs will be the main negative emission technology for at least the next decade. And we will see how it will be in the midterm. So thank you very much, and I will appreciate it if you have some questions coming up. If not, you're also fine to follow on LinkedIn, also to contact me directly on LinkedIn or send us an email, and we would be more than happy to join forces together with you guys.